Welcome back to Are We There Yet, guys? Today, my guest, and I am so delighted, is the incredible Dr. Katriona O'Sullivan. If you have not read her literary sensation, Poor, where have you been? And get on it is all I will say. Her new book, Hungry, it is a very difficult but important read. That's how I described it to my 8-year-old when she asked me why I was crying at the pool, because what it does, it delves into the harmful beauty standards inflicted on girls and women of all ages. It gets into how we can love and hate our bodies at the same time. She bravely talks about the childhood trauma she experienced in the book and the sexual abuse that she experienced and survived, and really how it put her in survival mode, I suppose, for the rest of her life, and made her question herself, the world around her, and the other people in her life. It can be a difficult listen at times, but I think it's an important one. So here we go. Katriona O'Sullivan, it is an absolute pleasure to have you in the Are We There Yet studio. I am a humongous fan.
Thank you.
And I can't believe that we haven't had a chat.
No.
We've never met.
No, never met.
And because I've heard you on different podcasts, heard you on different interviews, and the way that you have written this book, I felt like you were, and I've heard other women say this, that you were talking to me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there is one woman who will read this book that will not relate to it in some shape or form. Wherever they are with their body image, whatever age they are, there will be something in this book that will relate to every single woman. And I genuinely mean that.
Yeah.
And when I talk to my friends, my colleague Sasha, you know, we all kind of went, how is she going to, before diving into this book, how is she going to deliver and, you know, supersede what she has done with Poor? And I know you probably weren't trying to do that, but like Poor was such a sensation.
Yeah.
And then you write this and it's like, fucking hell. It like hits to the core.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad. Yeah. Obviously, Poor is like a long shadow, you know, and there is fear about trying to perform at that level. But I just kind of had to let that go and know that I'm a good writer, and I knew that this is something that needed to be written, and that it would relate to a lot of women's experiences, and also educate men about how they influence how we feel about our bodies. So it was in the writing process. It was definitely something that came up a lot. Oh my God. Like, Paul's been in the chart for 3 years in the top 10. It's never left. Yeah. So that's never happened before. I don't think any book has ever done that. I don't know if it's a record. We have to check it somewhere. But it's never happened before.
And so people talk about second album syndrome, second memoir syndrome,
then,
like Jesus.
Adele's second album was so much better than her first. I always say that. So I'm like, I'm Adele. And Adele had a brilliant second album, 1921. 21 was amazing. So I always kind of say, and the truth is, look, you can't compete with yourself. You have to just say, I believe in this. And I really think that this is a story that needs to be told. And I think any writer has to do that. Yeah. You can't think about success. You have to think about doing your very best within your realm, and that's within the writing process.
And that's what you always do.
Yes.
And you do so with such searing honesty.
Yeah.
And I know in the acknowledgements you mentioned Richard Hogan, who we've had on the podcast, and how you sat across him on a train. Yeah. And you kind of talked to him about the idea, and he said, do it.
Yeah. So I wasn't going to write another book. You know, like you know, when we get these ideas of ourselves as women, you know, you're a presenter, I'm an academic, and I'm a mom, and then all of a sudden I'm a writer, and then I'm a good writer, and then I'm a successful writer. And so the idea of being a writer outside of academia wasn't something that felt like I could step into. But I do have the desire to educate and communicate and talk about things that are really not spoken about a lot in openly. And so this book kind of was coming out of me, even though I didn't necessarily want it to. I didn't feel like I had the right to keep writing. And I was on a train with Richard. I'd actually shared a bit about my body on my Instagram, which I'm very open on Instagram about all the things. And every time I spoke about my body, the women would just be like, oh, this is how I feel. Living in that space of liking your body, respecting yourself, and also hating yourself and wanting to change yourself. And then also in the back of that is just witnessing what women who are poor are doing to align with the beauty standards that are changing, and a feeling like I need to say something about this. And so I was on a train with Richard, and I actually said, Richard, I have an idea. And he said, what is it? And I was telling him about the book. And I actually wrote 1,000 words on the train journey. And then I said to him, can I read you the words? And he said, yeah, go. And he just went, you just wrote that now? You got to write this. This is amazing. But so
I think that's your natural talent.
Yeah.
Katrina. And when you are writing from the heart like that, that's what's so visceral about it. Like, I read this a couple of weeks ago when I was on holidays in Portugal, and my 8-year-old came up to me because I was beside the pool and I was bawling my lamps out.
Yeah.
I was inconsolable. It was that sort of coming from somewhere deep inside. And I was looking at my 2 girls who are 8 and 4, and, you know, feeling the trauma that you were writing about so vividly.
Yeah.
And she came up and she was like, what's wrong? And I said, I'm reading a really important book.
Yeah. Oh.
And I said, she said, well, why are you crying? I said, it's brilliant, but it's important. And she said, why are you crying? And I said, you'll understand when you read it.
Yes.
When you're a little bit older.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I think it's so.
And I cried because to think that she will have to go through the same shit.
I know.
Of the insecurity and the body image, and like
everything.
When is it going to stop?
I don't know if it's going to stop. This is like, I'm 49 now, so I've lived through like 5 trends of body size and shape. And I think I've never been able to fit into any of them. I mean, Ashley Graham was a little stage there for a while. I was like, oh, and you can nearly get to that one. Or, you know, I was never naturally skinny. I could never be Kate Moss. I could never, you know, I was never a Kardashian bum girl. But like the inflicting on young girls of the beauty standards is so harmful, whether you're traumatized or not. And the point of the book is to try to shine a light on all of our responsibilities within that area of what we all can do, but then also to draw on how some women are so harmed by it, like, and how we should be really trying to protect them women as well. And in my case, I was so harmed by the idea of an after. Like a destination body or a destination place or a destination job that like it became an elixir, and you can never reach that place. And like you said, the little girls, like by the age of 1, we've spoken more soft words about what girls look like, significantly more soft words to little girls than boys will hear before the age of 5. She's pretty. She's so. We change our tone. Boys,
such a good girl.
She's such a good girl. She's so. And then boys are rough, tumble. He's a strong boy. Like, we are ultimately socializing girls still into the belief that their value is tied to being a good girl, also having a certain body, and also looking a certain way. And I think we just need to try a little bit harder to do to protect young girls.
I never call my girls good girls.
No.
I always call my girls strong girls.
Yes.
And they're both very different. And I'd love you to take us back to you when you were a little girl, because I connected with that. I was such a tomboy as well.
Yeah.
But bring us back to when you were happy and free and loved your body and was playing football with the boys.
So like, I think one of the gifts of my childhood is being able to remember the freedom and the liberation. Like, I grew up in a really poor community. Everybody was poor. We all had no money. There was rich, poor families, poor. There was addiction. There was madness. There was crime. There was music. But there was liberation where I came from. There was a freedom. Your mum would kick you out in the morning. You'd be gone for 12 hours. And I had 3 brothers, and I didn't even know I was a girl. Like, I genuinely didn't know that I was any different to the lads. Like, I just remember being deadly. I was deadly. I was as strong as, come on then, I'll fight you. You know, like I was as strong as the lads. I could run as fast. No one was going to beat me. I was going to give everybody as hard as they gave me. And I just have this image of myself as a little girl. I don't know if you remember, you know, I used to cartwheel over and over and over again.
My one at 8 spends half her time upside down in this world now. And
like,
it's amazing.
I'd have a little dress on and my knickers would be showing. There'd be no shame. There was just pride in my body and what it could do. And so I actually remember the joyful feeling and the freedom of my body and the freedom of feeling like I'm equal. And I'm as good as them. I write about playing football. I was deadly at football. Ironically, like
Still are, apparently.
I am. And my son is a professional. Like John became a professional, moved to England. Really proud of him. Like we're a real sporty family. And yeah, so I was always really good and proud of my body when I was really small. But I also remember then the messages from my dad, from my mom. Like I kind of talk about this in the book, but then the things that influence that experience. So, and in my case, my story is quite extreme in the things I experienced, but I talk about them extreme things so that we can think about how little girls are taught to feel about their bodies in terms of their value. Yeah.
You talk and you write about the trauma and the sexual abuse and all of the, I suppose, the awful things that no child should experience or should have inflicted on them. And do you think that you know, you kind of enter survival mode?
Yeah.
And do you think that that ever leaves you? Like, you know, with all of your success and with all of your safety and the life that you've created, is like, do you think there's are you kind of always in that survival mode?
Yeah. So and this is one of the only reasons that I have written both books, is we need to protect children from trauma and sexual trauma particularly. So when you're poor and you live in a community that's underserved, you're 9 times more likely to experience sexual abuse in childhood. We never talk about that, Kathryn. We never say the truth of what we're allowing to happen to children when we don't help communities. And so, yeah, for me, I was so vulnerable because I was poor and because of what was happening in my home. And that has permanently changed me. So yesterday I did a keynote at the Active Consent conference. They were launching a research report about apprenticeships' views on consent. And it was really interesting, actually, because of some of the findings. And I don't talk all the time about the sexual trauma because it hurts. But in this case, I did. And I was talking about the lifelong impact on me. So I'm happy and loved and well, but my biological response to the world was changed by sexual trauma. And what I mean by that is, firstly, the back of my brain, which deals with like fear and flight or fight, but it's kind of always on. So pooing, pissing, I talk about it in the book, heart rate. So, and then how I perceive the world is there's an automatic idea that something bad's going to happen, that I'm going to be attacked. And like, I don't mean physically, I just mean you're on and worried. That's so like you could look away from me or you could pick up your phone and have a text and I would take that really personally. And I know people take things personally, but that's hyper vigilance and perceiving things as negative and perceiving things as threatening has been in my life always since I was first abused when I was age 7. And the reason I talk about it is because firstly, you know, shame dies in the light. Shame dies in the light. I have nothing to be ashamed of. And when I am not allowed to speak about these things, I feel like I've done something wrong. And that's first. So it's liberating for me to talk about these things, but also to highlight when you go to school and you have not only hunger, physical hunger, which I had, but also a traumatized brain, the idea that a child can concentrate and pay attention and not respond and react to the world in a negative way is completely flawed. And a lot of kids, like 1 in 4 adults in Ireland have been sexually abused in childhood. That's why we have a charity called 1 in 4. 1 in 3 women worldwide are raped. 1 in 3 women. This is not rare. And so
trauma, I think just when you hear those statistics out loud, it's still so shocking.
It is. But we need to talk about it and we need to protect women and we need to protect children. And so I use my story to try to highlight it so that people, and when you talk about feeling and crying, I'm glad you cried. I'm not glad that you were crying, but I'm glad that you know, I wrote it so viscerally so that you could actually say, what can we do? You know, how can I protect my daughters? How can we protect all the little girls? But in my case, I say this, there's a before girl and then there's an after girl. And the before girl is like trapped in a glass. The girl who could cartwheel, who could play football, who could show her knickers, is somewhere else. And I'm always trying to get to her. I'm always trying to find that freedom again, because what emerged after the sexual trauma of my childhood was this guarded girl who thought that everybody was bad.
Yeah.
And when you think everybody's bad, the world feels really dark.
Yeah. And right at the beginning of the book, you kind of dedicate it to your younger self.
Yes.
You know, your 7-year-old self. I've got you.
Yeah.
I've got you.
I've got you.
You're always, I suppose, and how you wrote about the therapy that you like that benefited you so well and was so necessary.
Yes.
I mean, Mary was your therapist,
Yeah.
and actually going in there and going through years of therapy.
Yes.
Do you still go to therapy?
Not now, because
not now. Okay.
Because we heal. This is the great thing about the story as well for anyone who's listening. Like, I'm good. You know, like, it's possible to heal. That's the other thing. There's so many people who've had so many bad things happen to them and maybe in a position where they think they're never going to be free. I am free. I have learned how to nurture myself and how to live with them, the scars, and how to manage, and also how to thrive in spite of them. And therapy has fundamentally been essential to that. And finding the little girl. So I talk about the things that I do, which is I have a doll and she's me and she sits next to my bed and I call her into my life every day and I'm like, I've got you today. And I regularly use her as a tool to question my decisions. Is this good for me? Is this going to help me get back to that little girl that's trapped in the glass? And some things I decide not to do, that like shrinking my body or engaging in harmful activities or, you know, doing things that maybe like are anti-aging and stuff. I don't do them things because I'm like, that's telling me that I'm not okay. And it's telling her she's not okay. And the little doll and the mechanisms that I have are my tools that I've learned through therapy. But it's really important that people know it's possible to heal. And not just heal. Like when people talk about me, Kathryn, they definitely talk about she's a best-selling author. She is a professor in psychology. I've been to the UN. Like they list, and it's amazing. But the thing that I was robbed of was the ability to love, to feel safe enough to allow somebody to love me and to love them. And that's my greatest success. And that's what abuse and poverty robs people of: enough security to actually find the thing that we all want, which is love. And I found that.
And that is, I mean, when you talk about the hunger and you talk about the loudest noise in the classroom was your hungry belly when you were in school. And I mean, that just hit home with me so much. But the book is about so much more. Like you said, it is about hunger for love, hunger for success, hunger for connection.
Yes.
Yeah. So and how that kind of, that was a constant search.
Yes. But I think when you're empty, you know, and I grew up empty, you know, not knowing how great I was and not really succeeding at anything. So I failed at school. I left when I was 15. Now, don't get me wrong. Along the way, I knew that I knew I could buy and sell you. So I knew I was savvy. You know, you wouldn't get anything past me. And I knew that I was good at English because Mr. Pickering made me know, and he really loved me and taught me that. But I kind of internalized, like you fail a lot when you're hungry. You fail a lot when you've low self-esteem. You fail a lot if you've neurodiverse or you've been traumatized. A lot of us fail because the system's not designed for us. And so I internalized that through education, but also then, like, my mum didn't love me. You know, I have to say that, like, when your mum doesn't love you, that's the fundamental thing. Even when you talk about your girls, your eyes are open wider, you know their personalities. Like, your mum is supposed to love you. Like, that is like the unwritten rule of the world, is it not? Like, mums have us and then they love us. My mum didn't love me.
Didn't love you because she was in the throes of heroin addiction?
Yeah.
Or just didn't love you? Like,
I think my mum was warped from her own childhood. She had a traumatized childhood herself. Addiction definitely changed her morally. It's not that I think that she did love me now. So logically, I can say to you, of course, she had love for me. But when you're 7 and a man rapes you as a child and you say to your mum, this man did this thing to me, and she says, he did it to me too, there's no like reasoning in a young child's brain of like, wow, my mom had a bad childhood and she doesn't know and she's on drugs. It's just, oh, my mom doesn't love me. I'm not lovable. And when you live in a world where like everything talks about like the good mammies who love the girls, and you see the neighbors and they love their girls.
Yeah.
So I grew up really empty and thinking that I wasn't lovable because my mum didn't love me. And that then sets you on a train. You're empty. And then there's the relationship with my dad, which was very conditional. He loved me only if I behaved well for him.
Yeah.
So if I was a good girl and I didn't challenge him. So all of them messages made me feel like I wasn't worthy and I was worthless.
Yeah.
And then, you know, when you succeed at something, when you're empty, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
this feels great. And
Yeah.
so, and it never, them things don't actually fill people. I don't think work fills people. I think you can have a great job and you can be happy, but I genuinely think connection is the key to everything. This is a solution, but we live in a world that tells us the new job, the new car, the new house, the promotion, all them things will fill us. And for me, so the drive to fill up the hole was so big, and I followed like academia. I became really successful because I'm smart and I'm capable and I was drive.
Was that hunger.
It was hunger.
Yeah.
It was all coming from an empty place. And so, and I would get affirmed.
Which is that juxtaposition then, isn't
I
it?
know.
It's like, you know, what has kind of brought you here to be able to tell your story was that kind of hole that you filled with that. And you know, and I love hearing you talk about that. I know I'm good. I know I'm smart. And you went after it, and you're not going to leave any fucking stone unturned. And you did it.
Yeah.
But it came from a place of that desperate hunger.
And I hurt myself doing it as well. So in terms of then, for anyone who's not listening, who doesn't know, like when I was 23, I got into Trinity College. I learned one of the greatest lessons of my life. I'm actually deadly. I didn't know I was Trinity smart. I knew I could buy and sell. I knew I had, potential, but I did not know that I was brilliant, first class honors student. Like, I'm deadly. And I'm like, oh my God. When the conditions are correct, I'm as good as all the good girls that I went to school with. So that was amazing. But like, I met Dave in first year. I got pregnant in second year. Had Sean in the February, did my exams in the May, and went back in September. But like, I just was like, I'm on the train. This is what you do. No one ever said, take a year out or, I was just like, go. This feels good. This kid feels good. Then I get first, graduate. My dad dies. I'm back in college a week or two later, have a baby in my first year of my PhD. Still do it within 4 years. And like, I'll say that sometimes when I do a presentation and people will go, well done. No, that's not good. You're supposed to take time out when you have a baby. Like, you're supposed to stop working. And
oh my God. And I had this conversation with Darren Garrahy a couple of weeks ago. She took time out to have her baby. And I went back to work after 6 weeks.
I know.
And I hadn't really said it out loud before. I was like, I feel so guilty.
I know.
I feel so guilty that I did that.
Yes. But I think, so let me just come in as the psychologist here for a minute. Like, going back at 6 weeks, the harm is not to the child, right? So if you'll pick care, most mums who love their kids pick good care. So whoever cared for your baby, they're not going to feel the cost of it. But it's the why we do it and how it harms us necessarily. So you're living with guilt. I actually met Darren when she was pregnant. We went for a coffee and she was talking about whether she should go back, Dancing with the Stars, whatever. I was like, Darren, do not. Like, it's one of my biggest regrets.
Yeah.
And it's not even about the kids, to be honest. I'd love to be like, I should have been a better mom. It was actually about giving myself the chance to say, it's okay to stop.
Yeah. And I'm really bad at doing that.
But like, there's some professions that reward it.
Yeah.
Like, my profession rewards it.
Yeah.
Like, academia rewards. Like, if you're an academic and you've a grant and you've staff in the grant, no one can come in and take over from you if you have a baby. Like, your whole lab is gone.
Yeah.
If you decide that you're going to take time off. Like, and in your case as well, like, you're in a job that's pretty competitive at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's not like they're going, well, we might not get you. We'll get her in.
Yeah.
And then you're like, she might take my job.
There's somebody younger coming in behind.
So the world kind of doesn't make that possible as well.
Yeah.
But in my case, a lot of people would congratulate me for actually having a pathological drive that cost me.
Yeah.
It cost me a lot, like psychologically, to keep going. Now it
And
added.
how did that impact you then?
It just, I eventually I broke. So when my mum died, so my dad died 2013 or 2011, and then my mum died in 2013, and I literally, again, straight back into work, buried her, straight back into work, and I was in just push forward, just keep going, you'll be fine, just keep going. You've done it before, keep going. And I was in work, and I started to get this feeling like I was choking all the time. And it was so embarrassing. I was in the Trinity kitchen and I was like, I have an apple stuck in my throat. And one of the girls, she knew I was having a panic attack.
Oh God.
And she's like, no, you can breathe. I was like, I can't breathe. And I actually had I had full on panic attacks for about 2 months.
God.
And there's only 2 times in my life, like I have experienced thoughts of dying and not wanting to be here. Once when I was in the homeless hostel. When I was 16, my parents kicked me out and I ended up being in a homeless hostel, and I was there. I'm actually going to cry saying this. I was in the hostel for 18 months and I never got one visit. Not one person came to see me while I was in there. And that was a period of my life where I thought, I don't know if I'm going to survive. I don't know if I'm going to carry on living here, being alive. I don't want to say suicide because it's triggering for people, but I genuinely didn't want to live. And then when I was having them panic attacks, I took Dave on a walk down our lane. We live on a lovely country lane. And I just said, make sure you look after the kids. And he was like, he burst out crying. He was like, babe, I couldn't live without you. Like, you're the light of all our lives. And so I'm going to cry, but I pushed so hard. Psychologically, physically, emotionally, trying to manage that eventually I psychologically cracked. And I'm grateful that I cracked, and I'm grateful that I stayed alive, because some people don't. I went to the doctor and got medication, and it was the best thing I did was ask for help. Like, the best things I've ever done in my life is ask people to help me. But that situation was where I went, I need to stop.
Yeah.
I need to help myself, and I need to slow down and take some medication. So I went on antidepressants, and it was amazing. Now I'm not on them anymore because I'm not depressed anymore, which is fantastic as well, because it's hard to come off them. But that was a horrific experience. Yeah. Because I just kept going. Yeah. And some people don't have that. Like, you go on a holiday and you feel a bit better. But I was dealing with all of it. There was death, and there was trauma, and there was all this stuff that I'm trying to manage. And I'm also trying to be a great wife.
Be honest. How long have you been putting off that health check? Don't worry, we are all guilty of it. But if you are ready to stop guessing and start taking control of your health, then Matter Private Health Check is a total game changer. Now, this isn't your basic GP visit. We are talking advanced diagnostics. We are talking mental health screenings and a VO2 max test to see how you are actually aging. From dealing with hormone health to toxic visceral fat, the Matter Private Health Check really goes into detail and looks at everything that you want to know more about. No GP referral needed, and you get your results really quickly in an easy to understand, personalised report. Health Check is available now in 2 Dublin locations, both located just off the M50. To learn more and book your appointment, just visit matterprivate.ie. And it's kind of your personality type. I don't know you, but I think it's your personality type as well, that you are like, what's next? Go. I can do it. You're a go-getter.
Exactly.
And you're an overachiever, probably.
Yes.
Is that the right word?
I think so, yeah. Like, I wrote my article. I don't know if it was last week or the week before, the column that I do. And someone was like, you just need to calm down, And I was like, that's not who I am, actually. Like, I'm not calm, but I'm okay as well. So like, now I'm not like pushing myself to the limits, but I'm still a go-getter. At the end of the day, something I can do in a day, another person might not be able to do in the day, but I just have a very high work ethic and a very high output, but it's not like pathological at this stage.
Okay. And where are you with your boundaries? Are you good with your boundaries?
I am. I try to be, but I have some really good people in my life. I have a good agent, actually, who tells me no, Like, no, you don't need to, like, no.
You don't need to go down and do that.
You don't need to do this. So I have that because I do find that really hard. I find it really hard to say no because like the asks that I get, I genuinely like, can you come and speak to this group or can you come and I'm like, oh, I really should, but I can't. So I have great people who are trying to look after me. And also have I'm much more connected to the little girl. So I kind of, with big decisions, I kind of stop and go, is this right for her?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I listen and sometimes I don't. But I'm much more balanced now than I've ever been and good at saying no, boundaries. And Dave is great.
Well, I was just going to say, I've never met Dave. I've never met you and I kind of love the both of you.
Yeah.
But talk to me about the love that you didn't have, that you have in your life now with your children and with Dave. And you have found this incredible connection.
Yes.
And the book actually starts, I think, 4 sentences in.
Yeah.
And you're in Turkey in 2022 with Dave and the kids, I think. And 4 sentences in, you go, I fucking hate my body.
I know.
And then I'm like looking at you on Instagram.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago, I was in Cork on holidays.
Yes.
You were in Portofino, much more fancy. And you put up this video of the two of you. And it's like him on the sun lounger, Mr. Sexy. And then he takes this video of you on the sun lounger.
Yes, I know.
And there was happiness radiating from that.
Yeah.
Did you feel happy in that moment? Like where are you in your body?
I'm in the gray space. So like I still struggle with, my body. I don't look in the mirror and go, yeah, baby. But sometimes I do. And sometimes I don't. Like I love football, right? With my house, big football house. So I use this analogy of a strong back for the defenders, right? Eat well, sleep well, move well, and keep connected. So if I am in that, I feel pretty good about my body at the end of the day. So oftentimes like how I feel about my body changes because of how I'm living my life.
Yes.
Not because my body has changed that much.
Yeah.
Generally, I'm quite healthy now. I was a lot heavier a year and a half ago and I had to lose weight because my hips and my knees have been really affected by that. And that's really hard for me because I don't want to be in a world where I'm like, we need to be smaller, but I want to be healthy. I want to live a long life. And I understand that having a bigger body can affect that. So hungry and like what I'm saying about shrinking and it's complicated. It's not just great, and I know you've been in these conversations over the years. Like it's not as simple as going, let's not tell people to be smaller or let's let everybody just be whatever it's actually, for me, it's about how do we ensure that we have a healthy, good relationship with who we are in our bodies and that we're able to live a long, free life. And so if that's a long answer, how do I feel about my body? Some days I love my body. Some days I wish it was a bit smaller. Some days I look and go, oh my God, like I'm still got it.
Yes.
I still have
but
it.
Did you hear Emma Thompson recently? Yeah. She was at a Berlin Film Festival a couple of days ago and she stands up. I was like, this woman is amazing because she's, I think Emma Thompson is 63 and she's starring in a new film with a guy called Daryl McCormack, an Irish actor.
Yes.
And it's about her. She's a widow at 55. She's lost her husband. Her kids are older. She's never orgasmed.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I talk about that in my book.
You do.
Yes.
You do. And that's why I was really interested to hear what you had to say about this. And she stands up at the press conference and she was like, getting ready for this and standing in front of a mirror at 63 and not fucking critiquing myself was the hardest thing I have ever done in my life. And every woman will understand what I'm saying.
Yes.
And me at 47, and people think, oh, I run fitness retreats. I did Operation Transformation for years. I was telling people to lose weight. I was fat shaming, blah, blah, blah. That like, I wouldn't understand. I understood every bit of what she was saying.
And I think
that we pull bits in and that we suck it in and that like, here's me wearing me Spanx.
Yes. And the ankle. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Of course. Yeah. And the angles and the pictures.
And we all do it.
And the Botox and the this. And like, I think like people who are in the media are actually, they have it a lot worse. Like I did Sheila Shoga's podcast recently. And
I love Sheila.
Like I remember Sheila and Katriona being like, criticized, like, because of that. They were beautiful.
They were media fodder.
But they were fodder, and they were beautiful women. And, so we have a lot to do in terms of how we criticize women and how we expect them to look and be. And I think Emma Thompson, there's a research, she's set up a program as well around older women being in, I don't know if you heard this, but there's more Chris's in Hollywood movies than women over 60.
And talking dogs.
And talking dogs, talking animals.
Yeah.
Which is shocking in terms of ageism, weightism, bodyism. But I think I think there's a line, right? I like to look nice. I like to feel nice. I like makeup. I do my hair every day on my Instagram, and I chat into the camera. However, it's when our value is tied into that and we're desperately trying to hold on to something that should change. I think that's when it becomes problematic. And we live in a world that benefits from us feeling like this. Like even Spanx, Spanx are so uncomfortable. Oh my God, they make you so hot in this
I was wearing a dress earlier, and I was so much more comfortable in it.
Yeah.
Because I just had my G-string on, and now I'm sitting in this, and it's cutting the stomach.
I know, and they're so hot.
I know.
They're so sweaty.
That's trying to get them back up when you pull them down.
Oh my
geez,
gosh.
but
I know.
I feel better in them.
I know.
I feel. I don't, which I don't know what's right and what's wrong, but I do feel better in dresses.
I think some of the research shows it's about, like, if we do have body issues or we don't like our body, it's comfort. Like dressing in clothes that make us feel comfortable really actually does make us feel better about our bodies. So finding clothes that are more comfortable rather than forcing ourselves into styles that we're told we should be. Or because if you're uncomfortable in your clothes, I think that like seeps into uncomfortable about your body. It's like if your knickers are uncomfortable all day, you're constantly aware of your belly, like, and you're not going, I love my belly's so round. You're like, it should be smaller. So it's like trying to find a way of having a comfortable outfit, a comfortable feel about your body. I do that a lot now, a lot more. Dress more for comfort. I still look fabulous. I still feel beautiful, but I'm trying to think about, how do I keep this comfortable, nice feeling? But also health is really important. And I'm not advocating for anyone not being healthy. In fact, I think Hungry is a drive for health. It's about, let's stop having toxic relationships with our bodies. Let's embrace ourselves, understand ourselves, and know, like, and obesity is a disease. Like it's one of that and alcoholism and depression are probably 3 diseases that we actually blame the person for. Yeah. And we tell them the solution is to do with their willpower. If you're depressed, go for a walk, go for a sea swim. You should engage in some kind of positive activity if you're depressed. If you're addiction, cut down. You're bad for your family. And in obesity, the disease, cut your calories, move more. That's all important. But also, I have a body, Kathryn, that wants to be bigger. Like it does.
Well, when we started Operation Transformation years ago, we were very weight centric.
Yes.
And obesity wasn't classified as a disease.
I know.
And I remember Donal O'Shea standing up in the Dáil because we were advocating to get the sugar tax brought in, which we did. But he was like, he stood up and he was like, we are never going to be able to treat our way out of this.
No.
And then you fast forward years later, the science has developed. We understand more about obesity now. It's not about eat less, move more.
Yeah.
It is about looking at all the different variations that come with it for different bodies, different people, how different genetics work.
Yeah.
Now we've got medications that are brilliant for obesity, like the GLP-1s.
Yeah.
And that has moved on in,
exactly
10, 15 years.
Exactly. And it's been fantastic. And I think, but there is still a lot of before and after shaming. There's still, so if we log into Instagram or there's still a lot of like conversations about control. And some people can. So like you might be like Dave, right? Dave's a runner. He's ran a sub 3 hour marathon. Shout out to Dave. You're deadly, Dave. Yes.
Dave doesn't get enough shout outs, I feel.
But Dave will put on a bit of weight on his belly and he'll be like, I need to cut back a bit. and he'll just cut back for a few weeks and then it's gone.
Same
right?
with my husband.
And you're like, Jesus, that's amazing. And like, if I put on 7 pounds, like it's there for 10 years and then it's doubling now because my body, it's just, we're different physically.
And also as women in our 40s, like I'm 47,
yes,
you know, it kind
slows
of all
down and
starts to change.
But the problem is that that's not recognized in the public sphere. And like, we're sold the solution as being a one fit all solution, move more, you know, reduce calories, whatever the thing is. Now we have the GLPs where we've women who don't actually medically need them, who are taking them. And I'm not judging them because I understand why they're taking them, but they don't medically need them and they're taking them because of the pressure to maintain a certain shape or size.
Well, I've heard you talk about this before. And I mean, I did a documentary last year called The Skinny Jab Revolution. And I said I would never wade into the area of weight again because I was just so scarred after Operation Transformation. Even though like what I still feel that we're trying to do, and I still feel what you're talking about, that level of self-care is about promoting movement, is about promoting the good foods that you put into your body, is about promoting confidence in women, and all of those things, longevity, not getting osteoporosis, strong bones. I'm all about women lifting weights. I don't give a fuck about skinny. I'm about strong. I think if we take the word small, shrink out of everything and you just go strong and replace it. That's what I try and do all the time.
Exactly.
I think it's so important. But for the class divide when it comes to weight,
I know,
is so huge.
Like I've got like 8 or 9 friends who've booked a gastric sleeve on Facebook, flew to Turkey, unregulated sometimes, regulated other times, had half of their stomach took away, like really, really hurt themselves. I have friends that have had lips done, teeth done, bums, butts bigger, butts smaller, boobs smaller, and then also like buying GLP-1s on the black market. So not actually having enough money because it's really expensive to get it from the doctor and doing stuff. So like I am trying to bring to light that there are certain women who will do more harmful things to themselves in pursuit of the changing beauty standard. Because remember, we've gone from Kim Kardashian to body positivity to super skinny now. We're back there, super skinny. We're back there. I could never imagine that we'd be back here. But now I see it everywhere in the media. It's so sad and so scary for young kids growing up. But for girls who are empty and don't have the capacity, it's not that they don't have the potential, but they don't have the capacity to think the way you might or the way an educated person might. So like I use the idea in my book around the Trinity lecturer who's like over yogaing. Like she's doing Ashtanga for 2 hours a day in pursuit of controlling her body. But like, that's not as harmful in inverted commas as the girl who's flying to Turkey. But the truth is we're all trying to control, but there's girls dying or there's girls doing really harmful things to themselves in pursuit of this standard. And I do think we need to highlight that. And I was one of them girls who was willing to actually cut off a gastric band in my stomach still. That's not full anymore, but still causes me difficulty because the idea that there was a destination body that I was going to reach that was going to fix everything. And it was sold to me from slimming clubs. Like I joined my first slimming club when I was 16 and that was the only time I ever reached the goal. And then after that, you're like, I need to get back to the goal. And the goal becomes so big. And when I did get to the goal, I actually didn't have the feeling. Because it's a lie. It's just a lie.
And I just think, when you're kind of relating like food to sins, even the idea that sins are foods.
But the love.
Yes.
That's the other thing. The book talks about hunger for love as well and the loss of love. I've been able to, so I always use the analogy like I sifted through a lot of dirt. And I talk about some of that in the book, but meeting Dave and like, this is not some magical romance. Dave didn't walk into my world and just light the path. Love, it requires work. It requires compromise. It requires sharing values, agreeing on them, continue to work towards them and always trying to find each other. And for me and Dave, like having a safe family and having a loving home, he came from dysfunction as well in different ways. That was where we met. It was like, we want to do better for our families. We don't drink, we're in recovery. And the two of us have just continued to find each other. And just to be honest, like Dave just absolutely adores me.
Adores you.
He just does. Like if I go away.
But I think every man and woman should read this, even just from a relationship
know.
perspective as
Yeah.
well, because
Yeah.
you have found what you were looking for.
And it's so nice.
But it takes work.
And it takes work to accept it.
Yes.
So when you meet a good man who is calm and caring, who loves you, sometimes that's the hardest thing to accept, rather than the unavailable man, the one who doesn't quite give it to you, doesn't text you back. Dave was the consistent, the good man. And I was lucky enough to have been in therapy to be able to accept that love. You know, the last thing he says to me at night, he says, "You're the light. You're the light of my life." He'll say, "You're everything, babe." I go away and he'll be like, "It's just dark when you're not here." And I'm like, "Oh my God, we're aging, you know, the wrinkles are there." But Dave just looks at me as if I'm just the girl that he met 25 years ago. And that's really nice. Really, really nice.
Okay, I ask everybody this, Katriona. The podcast is called Are We There Yet?
Yes.
You can answer that whichever way you like.
Yes.
Do you want to take it from love? Do you want to take it from relationships? Do you want to take it from body image?
Yeah.
Are we there yet? Is Katriona O'Sullivan there yet?
I'm definitely there in terms of the love and the joy that I have in my life and the stability that I feel. In terms of body image, I think I'm always, until we live in a world that makes it okay to be old and lined and a bit chubby and healthy, I don't think I'll be there. You know, I think, and also until we're protecting women, I don't think I'll be there. And I'm going to continue to try and do my bit to try to protect women from the harmful messages that we are putting out and we're taking part in. So I'm there in some ways, but not in all of them.
Katriona O'Sullivan, such a pleasure. Thanks a million for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
Be honest. How long have you been putting off that health check? Don't worry, we are all guilty of it. But if you are ready to stop guessing and start taking control of your health, then Matter Private Health Check is a total game changer. Now, this isn't your basic GP visit. We are talking advanced diagnostics. We are talking mental health screenings and a VO2 max test to see how you are actually aging. From dealing with hormone health to toxic visceral fat, the Matter Private Health Check really goes into detail and looks at everything that you want to know more about. No GP referral needed, and you get your results really quickly in an easy to understand, personalised report. Health Check is available now in 2 Dublin locations, both located just off the M50. To learn more and book your appointment, just visit matterprivate.ie. You've been listening to Are We There Yet? Hosted by me, Kathryn Thomas. Visual design and video edit by Stephen King O'Farrell and Connor Daly. Music courtesy of Audio Network. Series producer Paul McGregor and executive producer Sasha Hamrogue. New episodes of Are We There Yet? Are released every Tuesday morning wherever you get your podcasts. And you can also watch this episode along on YouTube. Are We There Yet? with Kathryn Thomas is an Onyx original.